So I'm really excited to be talking to Angelita today. Hi, Angelita.
Hi, Sharon.
And you're going to share with us a really interesting story about how you transformed your beliefs around money.
Yeah, money has always been a massive thing, not just for me, obviously, but for my family. And it held me back for years and held them back as well. So the memory that those of you who've worked with Matrix Reimprinting know you go back to and go back to and go back to. And I found working with Mark Bristow, who I was working with on this, we kept going back to the same memory of this 11-year-old girl who used to save Queen Victoria pennies. I am that old. There's one.
Oh, wow.
And I used to have a little stack of them. I didn't get up many. Often we're talking, 60s, late 60s. So save these in a corner of we had this old sideboard, and in the corner was my little corner for putting whatever that was my space. And I'd save them until I got a little pile, maybe 4, 5, 6, don't even know, doesn't really matter how big the pile was now. And memories of going to this drawer, either to put another one there or just to check that they were still there. And twice, eventually 3 times, but twice they weren't there. And sort of went, oh, where's my money gone? Asked my mum, who struggled financially. Oh, I borrowed them. I'll put them back. And they never, ever went back. And the final time we went back to this memory was the 3rd time that I'd gone. And I've no idea how long this span this was, but I really don't think that matters. And the 3rd time I went and looked and saw my pennies had gone, and it was right, that's it. There is absolutely no point in saving money, because however much you save, somebody will always take it or something will always happen to it, and you never have any. So what's the point? So from the age of 10 until about 55, 56, 57, wasn't able to save money, just could not save it.
So how
and went, come in and go.
Yeah, so that belief that you made when you were that young has carried on throughout your life.
Yeah, I've had money, and I'm good at creating money for things I want. I know I can do that. If I say, right, I need money for this, the money will appear. I can earn it, I can make it, I can get it, but I couldn't keep it. I never had any reserves. I didn't have any. I was literally living from, week to week, month to month, whatever. And even when I was married and my husband had his own business and we were well off and worked abroad and all the perks and everything else that you get with that, and was quite, I won't say we weren't wealthy, but we were well off. We didn't have to worry about anything. Money still just trickled in and flooded out and just didn't stay.
Wow. So having done that work with Mark and gone back to that same event a number of times and finding out that belief and that decision that you made around money at that time, how has life changed?
Well, since the realization that that's exactly what it was, because I could have logically gone there, as we know, and gone, yeah, I must have made this decision somewhere, but to actually be there with her, that 10-year-old, and ask her the questions and say, what happened? What did you decide? How do you feel now? All of those things, the questions that we ask. And to have that and think, do you know what? I know it's not true, but really know it's not true, and be able to tell her it's not true, and also to show her, bring her forward and say, look, we can have all these things. We've got all these things. But the best bit, which was, at one point I thought it was ridiculous, but now I think, do you know what? It's fab. I've now got my pennies. I was looking on eBay, as you do, for whatever, I can't remember what, and something popped up. If you bought this, you might be interested in something else. And it was a coin. It wasn't these coins. It was something else. And I thought, oh, they might have pennies. I bet somebody's got pennies. And typed in Queen Victoria pennies, and lo and behold, somebody was selling a big box full of them. And I thought, I don't want a big box. I don't need a big box full. So I think I've got about, not quite sure how many I've got here. Sorry, 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 13. Why have I got 13? Anyway, got 13 pennies. And when they arrived in the envelope, eBay envelope, and I opened the envelope. I burst into tears. I can't tell you what the feeling was, the relief was, the release, whatever it was. It was like, I've got these pennies now and nobody can take them away. And I used to carry them around with me everywhere in my handbag. I'm happy now to leave them at home and know that they're here. I'm still not wealthy yet, but I've got little pots of money in different places, and money keeps coming to me. And I feel as long as I've got these, and even if I lose them or give them to somebody else, that belief has gone.
Excellent.
And I am somebody now who can have money and keep it, save it. And one of the strangest things for me, and it was just like, wow, the realization, I've got money I can lend people. I do need it back, but I can lend, I've got a little bit of money. I could lend my son some money the other week. And it wasn't there was no fear and no drama and no dread attached to it. So this stuff is way more powerful than we really, really believe.
I love it. Awesome. And Mark Bristow, that's part of what he actually specialises in, isn't it?
Mark is the financial healer, or he is the financial healer now. I met the original financial healer, who was Eric Cornish.
Yeah.
I can't remember when I met Eric. Actually, I think I met Eric when I first came across Matrix Reimprinting at a workshop. I remember seeing this card on the table thinking, a financial healer, that's what I need. Everybody needs one of those. But yes, Mark is a financial healer now. He specialises in helping people sort their money stuff out. Yeah, it's fun.
It's brilliant. I mean, what's so amazing is all these testimonials that we've been doing have been on totally different subjects. From, what I did this morning was about back pain, and now we're talking about money.
Yeah. And I must admit, you may or may not include this, but when I saw all the others, there was like, oh, there was this and there was that. And I thought, oh, shall I do my little money thing? And I thought, oh no, it's only a little money thing. But I thought, it's not a little money thing.
It's massive.
A massive money thing. It's a massive, massive money thing that belief created so much distress, discomfort, pain in my life. I attracted partners who were rubbish with money. The first one, his beliefs were people who have money are not good, not nice people. All those rich people, they're not nice.
Yeah, filthy rich.
Filthy rich. The second one was born in a well-off family, a wealthy family, but couldn't keep money. Could not keep it. Never, oh, let's go on holiday. Let's go here. Let's go and spend some money. How would you like a new car? It's like, don't need a new car, Richard. Yeah, well, we'll just do that. And yeah, so it's law of attraction. We attract people who vibrate, similarly or the same to our own beliefs, and then it just compounds it and just makes everything terrible.
Yeah, money burns a hole in your pocket.
Oh,
that was my nan's belief.
Was it? Money doesn't grow on trees.
Actually, it does, because money's made out of paper, and that grows in trees.
Apart from those plastic £5 notes, I'm not keen on.
Yeah, apart from those, no, we won't count those.
No. Yeah. So yes, and actually, in sort of, since I messaged you and said I'd like to do something, I've been thinking about it and thought, no, it is massive. It's huge.
It is. It is. And of course, money's also linked to our self-worth and deserving. Yeah. So have you found that your self-worth has changed since
very, very much
doing the work?
Changed. I still some work to do.
Of course.
Progress, but I'm better at valuing myself and, putting myself out there and saying, well, I'd like to, I'll do this. However, it's going to cost so much. Because it's given me an idea. And the fact that I know I can have the money, I can now receive it, I can have it, I can keep it. I can do things that I have never dreamed of before. And again, going back to my parents and their background, they were both very bad with money. My dad gambled a lot. Well, he gambled everything, basically. And it was always, oh, well, it'll be all right next week, or it'll be all right when I win, or it'll be all right, whenever. And it never was.
And that's always placed sometime in the future.
Always.
So, yeah.
But the money was never here.
Yeah.
And again, when I looked at that and thought about it, I thought, well, yeah, you know, my money was never in the drawer where I put it. It was always over there, out there somewhere, or when his horse came in, or what, you know, whatever that was. We actually lost a house. Well, he lost a house. It was repossessed because he didn't pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's another thing too. He used to go and hide. Now, my dad was 6'3", 6'4", so not an insignificant man. You know, when you're 10 and your dad is this massive man who ruled everything as he did, and he used to go and hide when the mortgage man used to come round for the money that he hadn't paid. And that was another belief that I worked on, was what is this thing that makes my dad, who to me is like, you know, up there somewhere, run and hide? It must be really, really bad. So again, it's that money it's not good, because even though I didn't understand all the other intricacies of it and everything else, it was because he hadn't paid for something, because he didn't have the money for something, he had to go and hide and send my mum to the door to say he wasn't in, or, you know, he was still at work. He wasn't. He was getting ready to go to the horses or to the dogs or wherever he went on a Friday night. I can't remember. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, and revisiting it and going back and, you know, talking to that 10-year-old, that 11-year-old about how she felt about it. You know, bringing it forward. What does that mean now? You know, is money still that big scary thing? It isn't anymore, but it was for a very long time.
Yeah, and of course, you know, when we get triggered into our money stuff, it's our core security.
Yeah.
It's our you know, survival. It puts us in survival.
Yeah, and I spent years and years and years and years in fight or flight about money. Came out of my marriage with massive debt, which is what I started working with Mark on. Massive, massive debts that I could never repay, or decided I could never repay in this lifetime. But because they couldn't trace my now ex-husband, my name, and a lot of them were joint things, so I got them. So I literally had this, I used to call it my own personal little black cloud that followed me around everywhere.
Yeah.
And even when I had a really good paying job, the best paying job I've ever had, as a PA, I couldn't enjoy it, because even though I was being paid very well every month, there was always this thing here that said, yeah, but you owe all this money. So it was still, you know, this shadowed, covered thing. And it was only by starting to work with Mark and realising that, because I've decided I was going to file for bankruptcy, the world wouldn't turn black the next day, which is what I thought. So I'd already spent at this point 8 years with this thing following me around everywhere, spending different periods of time literally unable to answer my phone, because I look at the number and think, I don't know who that is. It could be a debt collection company, it could be somebody else. I'm not answering my phone. And it's only now, having come out of the other end of it, nearly out of the whole process of it, 5 years later, realising that I'd spent all that time in fight or flight, fear.
Yeah. And has that affected your health?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Not majorly, but I know that I just just suppressed, almost, is the only word that's coming to me now. Weight gain, unable to lose weight, even, you know, going through periods of, again, working, you know, long hours as we did, or I did, and thinking, right, I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to eat this, I'm not going to eat that. And even days when I was so busy, didn't eat anything, hardly, still can't lose weight. And you think, what is that? And it took a lot of unraveling of all of that to think, well, you're in fight or flight. Your body thinks you're about to die. It doesn't need food. You're going to die soon. It doesn't need anything. You're going to die soon. So it doesn't really matter. So it's only now, coming out of the end of it, I'm able to address a lot of these things and look at them almost from a distance or with a different perspective. I'm beginning to change a lot of them and doing things like going on holiday.
Yay!
Had a fabulous week last year with a friend in New York. Never been to New York before. And again, that's another massive realization which I shared with Mark. I said, I've been to New York. And not just that I've been there, I could afford to go to New York. And when I got there, I had money to spend and I didn't have to worry about it. And we had a fabulous, fabulous time. And things that I won't say other people take for granted, but I see other people doing. It's like, and before it was always, oh, I can't do that.
Yeah. So you're living life.
I'm living a life now. Still a bit more life to get, but I'm living a life now.
Awesome. And do you work with clients yourself?
I do.
And is there any particular area that you specialise in?
At the moment, the major, I say specialism, it's not really a specialism, the major group of people I'm seeing are people who are struggling with anxiety, stress and anxiety. A lot of it is financially created or because of the situation they find themselves in. And again, we're going back to security, we're going back to basics, really.
Yeah.
You know, foundation stuff, you know, a low paid job, irregular hours, can't get any more hours, all these sorts of things. They can't plan anything. You know, in a way it's similar to my penny story. There's nothing to save, there's nothing to create a foundation on, there's nothing to plan, look forward to. They're literally just struggling from day to day to day to day. So they're really a group that I'm looking at working more with at the moment.
Beautiful. And if somebody is listening to this and would like to work with you, how would they get in contact with you?
They can find me on Facebook. At the Wellbeing Lady is my business page. My website's not great at the minute, so I'm not going to give you.
Okay, we'll put a link to your Facebook, on the screen here.
Thank you.
Beautiful. And we'll also put Mark's link as well, so people can find him if they want to work with him. So if there was a short message that you could give to Carl, what would you like to say to him?
Oh, thank you. That's it. This creation, this process is totally life-changing. It certainly was for me. I mean, the 5 days when I went initially to do the training, I know that I went one person and left a completely different person, and that was what 6.5, nearly 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I think. 6.5 years ago. Completely began to make sense of who I was and why I did the things I did and didn't do some things, and you know, had no idea about other things. And that was even before we got to money. You know, that was about, for me, and Mark jokes about this, when he first met me, I was very quiet.
Oh, yes.
And I'd be at the back and, you know, just keeping my head down, literally keeping my head down. And he said, I remember I was asked a question, he said, nobody could hear the answer.
Yeah.
And now you can't shut me up.
Yeah, and look at you, you're on camera. Yay!
I'm on camera. And I'm going to be starting a radio program this week, which I'm so excited about, on Halton Community Radio on a Wednesday evening, and it's going to be about well-being. So I'm really excited about that. So more chance to talk and speak and be heard. So thank you, Carl, from the bottom of my heart, from all of that. It's been amazing, absolutely transformational. Thank you so much.